In this video, going to feature some old Grand Prix Formula One cars and an old slot car manufacturer that you may or may not have heard tell of before. So, picking a particular car because this manufacturer was the only one to make this version. So, what we have on the left is a scale electric, very nice scale electric of the Lotus 16. Let me go to the end here. Also scale electric, and it's the Lotus 21. Now, what scale electric didn't make was probably one of the most popular and well used as a customer car in the 60s from Lotus. And it's the Lotus 16, and that's this one here. And this is produced by a slot car company called VIP, or VIP, which stands for Victory Industries Products. I had to clarify to make sure I didn't mess that up. So, nice little car, very thin plastic bodies. Driver's not bad. It does have working steering. It does have a nice blade guide, which these early scale electrics just had that pin, which I'm really not a fan of. So they were ahead of the game, having a nice steering with a flag guide. Now, the biggest downfall for these cars is the brushes. They don't turn with the flag guide. They are stationary, and they are very thin and flimsy. Basically, it's just the frayed out ends of wires that are going through the body and connecting with the motor. So kind of, not a great design. And it does cause issues with transmission of power to the motors on these cars. But looking at it closer, it's got nice windscreen. It has the steering wheel as well as not bad pilot. It's got some very nice features, wheels and such to it. Now, I've replaced all of them with urethanes that I made. So, yeah, they got good grip, and not that they're very powerful that they would have much of a issue with that anyway. So if I take a closer look, here's a box that just a chassis came in, and there's that VIP or VIP logo here, and here's that chassis. And you can see the carrier at the end that holds the gear rear axle. No real clip-on. It's just two drilled holes, but the precision's pretty good. You don't get a whole lot of play or slop in that. You do have that gear coming through, a metal gear, onto the plastic contrate, so that's pretty good. Very typical motor of the time. You can see the brushes inside picking up on the axle there. The wiring also has a very big magnet up front here. So it gives you some magnet effect keeping the car on the track, but also helps with the balance, having it mid positioning of the car. All of the steering mechanism is metal, so it runs very smoothly and very precise, which is great and works out very well. Now, the bodies, they kind of force fit onto that chassis. And a big problem with a lot of these early VIP cars, let me see, can I get the focus on there, is you can see this one starting to move upwards. They'd described as banana shaped. They would curl up. And the worst was they did a version of the shark nose Ferrari, and the back end and the front end would curl up into a very unusual shape and not a very good representation. Now, this one has the original mirrors, which are a real nice addition, because a lot of the scale electric and other manufacturers didn't have the mirrors at all. Like this Lotus 21 does not have the mirrors, although the Lotus 16 does have the mirrors, and they actually look quite good. And same sort of size as we've got on this one. Okay, let's see if we can get the body off this one. This is take two. The first one, yeah, I took it off from front, and kind of pulled the whole guide and everything out. So kind of a warning there. Again, there's these flimsy braid pickups. Okay, so the idea here is it's a very thin shell, and it really is force fitted over it here. But the ideal method I discovered is to pull from the back, and that releases it, and then pull back from here. You can see there is 2 pickups on the front, 2 in the back. So what that's clipping onto is there is a bar across here and a bar across there, and that's what clips and holds it together. So you do have to, as I put this back together, start with the front end and get this lip here underneath the nose section, and then it'll slip right in, and then you can hear the click as you press the body, the chassis into the body. So not too bad. So there we go. We'll take a closer look of performance. We'll get it on to a track test, but also want to take a look at some books in reference to the history of the actual car. First book up is Theme Lotus by Doug Nye, and this one has a great chapter on the Lotus 18, as well as the chapter before has the Lotus 16 that we took a look at. The one I have, I've done it up with the helmet with Graham Hill, which we see here. He was the most successful with that car. Not that it was a great car. It was a front engine car when Cooper was going rear engine. And that's what sparked Colin Chapman to go to a rear engine when he came up with the Lotus 18. Here we go. We have Jim Clark, probably the most successful Lotus driver, and really started his career with this car 18. And we have, and let me see if I can find it here, the Stirling Moss version here, of which he won the 1960 Monaco Grand Prix against much heavier competition. So it was quite the surprise that Stirling actually won this race with much less power, and being a rear-engine car, although Cooper was very successful the previous 2 years with a rear-engine car. So with that Stirling Moss one here, there's a very good resin kit that you can get at Pendle Racing. And Monaco actually had the side panels taken off for extra cooling for the driver. And that resin one mimics that really well. So it's very cool. And then we continue in this book, it gets into the Lotus 25. And also Jim Clark really was successful with that particular car. There we go. And more books. I've so much on this era of Formula One and this Lotus 18. There is lots of information on it. Let's see, 1960, and here we go. Here's Stirling Moss in that Monaco winning car. Jim Clark racing up the hill. Where is this at? Zandvoort, looked like it, in Holland. As we go through this book, it shows all the competition, but here's the Lotus cars from 1960. And we can see that car, some nice color shots. But there's the 16 still being run while this 18 came into play. And some fabulous shots for that. So I've seen this car many times at vintage races. The best one here was Lime Rock when I was there in 2012. Stirling Moss was there and signed my program. There it is, and him in it racing through Monaco where he won that race. Spectacular. So it's great to see the car and the driver at this vintage race. If you have a particular interest in Lotus and Colin Chapman, this is probably one of the best books out there inside the Innovator. And it's a bit weird how they've done the chapters, but there is spectacular engineering notes, operational detailed drawings of all parts of the car, suspension geometry, everything about it. So this really gives you all the ins and outs. Also have a section back here where we can see that car. Here, that opening in the back with the transmission. It's one of the things that it doesn't have in the slot car. It's sealed up. So one of the projects I want to do is open that up and find a replica back-end transmission on here and place in the back of that car just to finish it off. I think it would look really great. Races at the time, always like my annuals, so one of the very rare and early auto courses I have is from that time, and these were fantastic. Might have shown this auto course before, the lap times. All these fold-out charts that give you the driver's lap time on every lap during the race. Pretty amazing. But here is that Monaco that he had won. And you can see the side opening here. So you can see the driver actually sitting in the car. They opened that up. A couple stories about that. One was just to keep the driver cool. The other was that on the way to the grid, they found that there was a crack in the tubing frame, and they opened up the panel to weld that and didn't have time to close it. But it's open on both sides, so I question that theory, although I have read it in several places. So, fabulous period piece, and I actually got Sterling Moss to sign this one as well. Am I going to be able to find the signature? Oh yeah, here's the drivers at the time. And there we go. Sterling Moss with his signature in that one. All part of the fun of going to these races and checking that out. So next, track test time. So getting a pretty good pace out of this. That's because I've had to put my power supply up to 14, and it gives it a decent speed. Now, for whatever reason, the urethane tires or the larger magnet that makes the motor go, it's got lots of grip on the track. It could have good balance. I usually find that cars with working steering don't actually perform as well, but this is right on with scale electrics at the time, and actually this is far easier to drive. I don't have it full out all the way around. I do have to let off on some of the turns. Now give the other two cars a go, see if there's any difference in performance. So far, seems to be just about the same. But again, easy driving cars. I mean, these ones I should get, let my granddaughter run. She'd have no problem. Even at the 14 volts, this is quite easy to drive. Again, I'm not sure why these were not successful in the market. By 69, VIP, VIP were gone off the market. Slot cars were gone. Okay, last of the three is this red one. Now it seems the older the bunch, or at least not as in good condition, but honestly it's nice and quiet, and honestly I think it's the better runner. It seems faster than the other ones. Now between these cars I did run the same period piece scale electrics, and I gotta say the scale electrics were faster. Maybe not as nicely handling, but that could be because they were going faster. But regardless, with any of these, particularly the older ones, but any slot cars. Get them in pairs so you can run like against like, and then there's no problem or issue. You know they're going to have similar performance. And these can be quite fun. And what I like about this is that it's a car that nobody else produced. So it's a unique model. Don't ignore the old stuff. We'll see you in the next one.